Welcome. I'm Kathleen Staten, the manager of Music Constructed, and we are delighted to be bringing you Making Folk Dance Fun this evening, a free PD session with Will Doublestein. He's a percussionist turned dancer. That's a natural segue, we think. And he's going to share so much expertise with you about what is this all about, this folk dance? How do you put it into your classroom? Because this is a shorter session, we ask that you pop your questions into chat and we'll make sure to get those answered throughout the presentation and, of course, at the end. And you're welcome to leave your cameras on as you like and sit back and enjoy our 30-minute session here. So, Will, welcome tonight and thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks so much. Really happy to be here. It's an honor to be asked, and it's so good to see all of you. It's so cool that you guys want to walk alongside me and learn a little bit about dance tonight. All right. Well, I've got a prezi that I thought I would share with all of you. And Kathleen, you feel free to just jump on in if you notice any questions in the chat. I don't know what kind of background you all have, but I will assume that many of you are like I was when I started. When I started in the classroom, I had zero experience with dance. And it was during my student teaching that my cooperating teacher started bringing in his classrooms and automatically going into folk dance. And I thought it was super interesting. It was something I had never seen before in the classroom. And that was about 10 years ago. And since then, I've just realized there are so many benefits of classroom dancing. It's such a wonderful resource that I think a lot of people just maybe don't know where to start. And so today's session is just meant to be an introduction, a helpful guide, I hope, and to build in some confidence for other music teachers as they maybe tackle this new area of music ed. And so what I'd like to do, can you all see my screen okay?
It's looking good and we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Well, I want to start with why dance. So there's so many reasons, but for me, the very first thing I ever think about in any part of music education is what my goal is. And so for me, my goal at the elementary level is to make music fun. I really believe that that elementary school music should center around the enjoyment of music. And I want the kids to come in every day excited. I want them to leave every day, go home and tell their parents what they did because the memories that we make in my classroom really matter. And I think that as they grow, I know I'm doing a good job if the kids want to continue in music. And whether that's through dance or whether it's through playing Orff instruments or whether it's through song, it doesn't matter. I just hope that they're excited about music and want to continue, even if it's just through listening to music. I mean, that's the way that I enjoy music most, is listening to music. And sharing it with people I care about. So I always start there. I start with the enjoyment of music. And some of you might know that I have a YouTube channel called Bowtie Music. So this is to help y'all remember my YouTube channel. And I have a little tagline. It's called Reimagining Music Class. When I was a kid, when we went to music class, I mean, it was just sitting in chairs and opening a textbook and singing songs. And so basically my classroom looks so different from that. And dance is a part of it. I just really want my classroom to be so much more well-rounded than that. You might be familiar with these words here: sing, say, play, move, and create. These are words that I have posted in my classroom really big. And they're just meant to remind me that music can be experienced in so many different ways. Certainly through song and through speaking rhythms, playing instruments, movement, and dance. And then ultimately, we want the kids to be able to create their own music. Um, and so that kind of has been a guide for me, where every day as the kids come in, I I hope that they're getting a well-rounded experience. So we don't dance every day in music class, but we do dance pretty often. And throughout the year, they've gone through several different dances, and had lots of experiences with different kind of dance. The other reason I love dance in the elementary classroom is because it gives us this opportunity to play music, like recorded music, and music from really good musicians. So every chance I get, I want to bring in, music from my Spotify account, or music from a cool video, something that inspires the kids. Uh, the problem is I also don't want it to be too much video, right? I want to have like real experiences that the kids are doing, and I want them to see adults perform sometimes too. I want them to hear music that that's not just the well that's not just the kind of music that my 4-year-old enjoys listening to, especially at this time of year with the super high-pitched voices and the cartoons. And you probably know what I'm talking about. Dance affords us this opportunity to bring in music that might not otherwise be incorporated into the kids' I don't know, their lives, their experiences. I think that sometimes our music is too corny, and sometimes maybe our music just doesn't relate, that we play for children. But through dance, we just have this great opportunity to bring quality music in. Next thing that's wonderful about dance is teamwork. And this is true with any kind of music, right? Like when we're playing music or performing pieces on instruments or singing, teamwork is such a huge aspect of everything that we do in the classroom. And it is very cool to see a group come together and work together, following different calls of dances, and to create something beautiful. So, following directions, right? Through folk dance, you literally are having the directions being said aloud by the caller, by the teacher. And this is added practice for the students to, get into that habit and that routine of following directions. And the last one I have written down here is musical phrasing. So in folk dance, we usually follow a sequence, like an A section and a B section. And it's just a great opportunity to talk about form and phrasing in music. So this is that's kind of the reason behind the madness with dance. At least those are my reasons. Next, I want to move in to talk about some of the logistics as far as how it works in my room. But before I move on, are there any questions that we should stop before we move on to the next part?
I think you've given us a great intro, Will. And if anybody does have questions about why to use dance in your classroom, you can pop those in the chat.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so next, let's talk about getting started with music in your classroom. I really believe if you want to have a successful experience with dance, you have to create a culture of movement in your classroom. There's all kinds of ways to do this, but the biggest one kind of goes back to that first thing I talked about, which is making sure it's fun. If the teacher's not having any fun, the chances are the kids aren't having any fun. And if the kids aren't having any fun, you might as well not do it. So it's not an easy thing to work on culture. But if you can find ways to help the kids feel comfortable taking risks, and to find ways of helping kids put themselves out there a little bit, then I think that you're going to find the whole experience being far more successful. Now, one of the ways that I did this was through a creative movement grant that I wrote a year ago. And the grant was to turn my classroom into just the coolest room in the school. The basically where we could have dance parties anytime, and all the pressure would be off, and the kids would just enjoy themselves and get used to moving their bodies together. And so I'm going to show you just a little clip here of some of the lights and things that we've brought into my classroom, and then after I play just a little while of this, I'll maybe explain a few more things. So this is a video about just about how to incorporate movement into a classroom. Skip through the cloud, and you can feel the movement through the overture that's playing if you listen to the end. Because the dove and the composer will be dancing when the lion comes again. Blue was the one that won, but he shares it with the others and they began on. Blue was the one that. All right, so let's see here.
And Will, you mentioned that you got all of that funding to create this classroom because you wrote grants for that. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we got the parents on board through Donors Choose grants. And you could, honestly, I was trying to skip around in the video, but I kind of missed the parts that showed off some of the things. But we used things like black lights, a disco ball, LED light strips, patio lights, lasers, and you saw we used the scarves, also a spotlight. So we create dance circles where kids can have an opportunity to jump in the middle, and perform their own dance moves, and then everyone else copies. So those are just some of the ways that we try and you know, that during that time we always use popular music, music that's, you know, really dance heavy. You know, we're kind of creating our own little club in the music room. And so that's a highlight for sure. And it just helps everybody relax when you do that and when the kids get used to that, that culture of movement. Okay. All right. Now moving on to choosing the right dance. This is super important because my gauge for this tends to be, you know, if it's a dance that interests me, it's probably going to interest my students. But if it's a dance that I can't imagine doing over and over and over again, it's going to be really hard for me to want to communicate enthusiasm with the kids. So I always try my best to choose the highest quality dances that I can. All right, setting up your classroom. Now, I am very spoiled in having an amazing classroom, and I know that most people don't have as much space as I do. My classroom is actually the old choir room, because our school used to be a middle school, and so I have a very big classroom. But I just want to show you a few of the ways that I've organized it. I use sit spots, and that's where the kids sit. So we never have any chairs in the classroom. And I also have this big circle that is super helpful in the carpet. So I know I'm really spoiled with the circle, but many of the dances we do are circle dances, and so we'll take use of that circle. If you don't have a circle in your carpet like I do, one thing I've done is used a stretchy band. And you can buy those from West Music, I believe. And you can have the kids make a circle using the stretchy band. Is a really good way. To go. One thing that you might notice in this is that in addition to the circle, I have Orff instruments, but those are all on stands, and so I push those against the wall so we have more room for space. Um, and then also, one more thing, we create long way sets, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But a long way set is just two lines facing each other. And you can see those with the black dots going all the way down the center of my room. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit about how I set up my classroom. Now, I just mentioned the term long way set. So the two main styles of dances that I like to do are long way set dances. Here's a little diagram where you have, two lines facing each other. Another dance is the circle dance, and oftentimes the kids are in partners for circle dances. And there are other dance formations too, but especially if you're starting out, if you stick with long way set dances and circle dances, I think you'll find the most success there. Choosing partners is always hard. It's always hard until you get that culture really established with your kiddos. The best advice I can give you is do your best not to make it weird. The kids, even because sometimes we hold hands too. And so if you can just, do your best not to make it a thing, you're going to be a lot more likely for the kids not to give you pushback. All right. Still, I still have trouble with it sometimes too. But we just try and normalize it. It's just a part of dance. Okay. Calling a dance. Now, calling a dance is giving the instructions, and this is a little chart. Basically, most of the dances that I do are in 8-beat or 16-beat phrases, and the calls or the instructions that you give line up with the music. So even calling the dance or even telling the kids what moves to do is musical. So in this image here, the lines represent beats. And so, for example, at the beginning, you have 4 beats of rest. And then on the 5th beat, you'd say, pass right, shoulders, cross, and so it all goes with the beat of the music. So you want to practice these dances, even calling the dances before you do them with students. Okay. And then incorporating dance into performances. One of the ways we've done that is with a community folk dance night. Where a program, for example, I've done this with 1st and 2nd grade. The program was to have the parents join us and dance with their kids. And that was a really fun experience. We had students who already knew the dance, the parents who were anxious to see them perform, but who were allowed to come down. We did it in the gym, and they got to learn 4 or 5 dances with the group. So I'll give you just a quick little view as to what that might look like. And I got to tell you, if you're trying to get parents on board with your music program, inviting them to participate with the kids is huge. And one thing that has really helped me in funding grants is including the parents in it so that they know what we're doing, and especially with Donors Choose grants, where they're actually giving money towards a specific project. It's been my experience that, man, if they can experience music with their kids, they far better understand it.
Well, we had a question there about, do you have extra time to be working on these dances during your class periods, or do you have to rehearse after school in order to facilitate these dance nights or presentations?
Yeah, everything we do is during their normal class time. I've thought about doing an after-school dance club, and I might do that at some point, but up till now, it's all been just during the normal school day. I'd also say this doesn't usually take up a full lesson for me. Usually this is just one part of a 3 or 4 part lesson. Yeah, and we'll do it for a couple weeks in a row too. So I'd say starting out, it's, err on it taking longer than that. But when you really get in the rhythm and flow of it, pretty quickly you can just tell the kids, guys, let's get in a long way set, get that set up in a minute or 2, and then process the dance for the next 10 minutes. And that's about it for that day. And then we'll do it all over again the next week. So yeah, I'm spending about 10 or 15 minutes on a dance, and that's about it in a class period. Okay. Great question. Thank you. The Earlier we talked about quality dances. So I want to share with you that the resource that I found to be the most helpful to me has been a group called the New England Dancing Masters. Um, they are a group that have been around since, I don't know, I think that the 80s they've been calling dances. And they have a series of books that have been absolutely gold for me in my classroom. And so almost all the dances I'm doing at this point are New England Dancing Masters dances. Um, and so they have 3 folk dance books, Chimes of Dunkirk, Listen to the Mockingbird, and Sashay the Donut. Those are listed in the order that they were published. And then each book has, just a plethora of dances that you can use and all the calls for them. They also have some wonderful singing game books like Rise, Sally, Rise and Down in the Valley. All of these you can find at West Music. You can also get them as a bundle. You can get them with CDs and MP3s. And then this resource right here, Alabama Gal, is one I wanted to really highlight. This is 9 never fail dances and singing games for children. So I've done 8 of these 9 dances, and every single one really is gold. It works every single time I do it. It works no matter what time of year it is. And I actually put together a whole review on this book, which is right here. We don't have the time, but you can find that on my Bowtie Music YouTube channel. Just type in Alabama Gal, and you can see a sample of each dance included in that book. So that book, it's shorter, but it also is, it's like the favorites, some of the favorites. So it's a great place to start. And the other 5 books or 3 folk dance books are, I think, the best resources around. Nothing else comes close. And the biggest reason I think for that is the quality of the music itself. The music from the Dancing Masters is like, music that as adults we would enjoy, but kids enjoy too. And that's the sweet spot. So my favorite dances are the ones where the music is so good I could listen to it over and over and over again. And there are several dances like that. I'm going to show you a few here in just a second.
Yeah, and I'm curious, I know as a teacher myself, how many of you have tried to teach folk dancing and have tried to find your own musical sources outside of New England Dancing Masters? It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. And especially because the phrasing of the music too, the phrasing has to be right in order to match up with the form of the dance. And so they've already done that work for you. And that's why it's been such a wonderful thing. So my next 3 points here are dances split into lower elementary, middle elementary, and upper elementary. And I chose not to do this by grade level because grade levels can flex depending on the ability of your students. So lower elementary for me usually means kindergarten, first, second, usually. Dances for middle elementary usually means second and third-ish, but sometimes first still, it depends. And then upper elementary is usually 3rd or 4th grade. My school goes up to 4th grade. For you, that's probably includes 5th grade as well. And then when I go into it, I have it split into 3 kind of parts. We got circle dances, dances in long way sets, and singing games. I'm going to skip the singing games tonight and really focus on circle dances and long way set. Now, if you are very new to teaching dance, I would really encourage you to start with the simplest dance, which is Les Salutes. And this is a very easy circle dance where the kids move around in a circle for 16 beats counterclockwise. They move 16 beats clockwise, the other way, forget which way I said, but they go one way 16 beats, then they go the other way, right? They go in, they go out, they go in and they bow, and then they go out. And this is a great kindergarten, 1st grade dance. You'd be surprised at how hard it is to get kindergartners to make and keep a circle. Again, a good tip is to use a stretchy band if you have trouble with that. Old Brass Wagon is another great introductory dance. And what I love about this one is it uses a bunch of calls from that you'll need in other dances. So I want to play for you a few seconds of this dance and just let you get an idea for it. So here we go.
Sorry, I can't stop. Circle to the left in my old brass wagon. Circle to the left in my old brass wagon. Circle to the left in my old brass wagon. You're the one, my darling. Circle to the right in my old brass wagon. Circle to the right in my old brass wagon. Circle to the right in my old brass wagon. You're the one, my darling. Into the center in my old brass wagon. Back on out in my old brass wagon.
All right, so I hope that kind of just gives you an idea of how these kinds of folk dances work and some of the calls. That whole song is meant to introduce kids to the different calls. Okay, now here are some dances in long way sets, and I want to show you this one. It's called the Kings and Queens dance. This is from the book Sashay the Donut. It's also included in the Alabama Gal collection. So this is a great first, second grade dance.
This is a group of second graders performing from the New England Dancing Masters, the Kings and Queens dance. In 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, right hand turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, left hand turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, gypsy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sashay down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sashay back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, walk on down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold hands, step up, ready,
And the great thing about folk dance is that these phrases just repeat. So once you teach a dance, usually you just repeat it over and over and over again. And that was an example of a dance with wonderful music. If you have more time after the session and look into some of these resources, you'll see that is just a really wonderful tune. I know we're not going to have time to look through all of this Prezi, but I want to let you guys know that this is something that I want to offer to you to be able to look in more depth. It's also, all of these dances are on my YouTube channel, and you can find them. So I know we're running out of time, but I'm just going to give you a really quick overview of some middle elementary dances. The heel, like if you're taking notes, the heel and toe polka is a wonderful circle of partners mixer dance. And I would say that my all-time favorite dance is Sashay the Donut. Sashay the Donut is a middle elementary dance. Thank you, Liz. I'm getting some excitement over there. Sashay the Donut is honestly, it's middle elementary if you can do it, but maybe really it's upper elementary. Like your third, fourth, fifth graders are going to love that dance. Sashay the Donut. Music's great. It's complicated, but it's also not too complicated. And once they get the hang of it, they can really perform it well. As far as long ways set dances, some of my favorites are Alabama Gal. It's a very easy dance where they tell you within the lyrics of the song what movements to do. And then I do want to just share with you some upper elementary. Now these get to be pretty complicated, but if you're looking for a challenge, one of my favorites is the Circle Waltz Mixer. And we got a drone video of this one, and it's just a beautiful dance. So anyways, man, just so much great music from the dancing masters. I mean, there's a gazillion long way set dances that come from them. If I could, I'll just show just one last clip. This is the intersection reel. You get two long way sets going towards each other. And this one is another very complicated dance, but man, oh man, is it ever fun. Your fifth graders will go nuts over this dance. We call that move at the end there the sachet of death, because they have to run right towards each other and try not to hit. So listen, guys, honestly, I know that a session like this with only 30 minutes is next to impossible to really dive in to all that's involved in classroom dancing. But my hope is that it's just I guess my purpose today was more than to teach you a bunch of dances. It was to maybe inspire you to give it a shot, to look at some of these resources. I will tell you, it's not as hard as you would think, but that doesn't mean it's easy either. It's something, just like with all music, you have to practice. So
Wow. Well, this was fantastic. If anybody does have any questions about how to implement this in your classroom or how to get started, we're happy to stay on for a few more minutes with you. And if you're signing off for the night, don't worry. Tomorrow you'll get a copy of this video, as well as links to all kinds of things that can help you in your journey with folk dance, and of course to Will's YouTube channel as well. So thank you so much for being here tonight with us, and especially to Will for this phenomenal session that makes me want to go folk dance, even though I don't have a classroom of children anymore.
well, I'm so glad you think that, and it really is a blast. Guys, there's so many ways you can get in touch with me. If you need to take a screenshot, there's all my contact information. I also want you to know that that this Prezi is something I want to share with you, and so I'm offering that as a free download. All I'm asking is that that you send me we're trying to do this for people who are going to purchase a product from the New England Dancing Masters. So if you decide to do that and send me at my email address your an order confirmation, I'm happy to send you this Prezi. It's going to be updated. I'm going to continue to use this Prezi with my own students, and so I'm going to, as I keep doing dances, I'm going to keep adding dances to this presentation. So if that can be a resource to you, I'm happy to share it. And so yeah, I'm also happy to answer any questions. If we have more time, I'm happy to stick around.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to take yourself off share there, Will, so we can see your face?
Absolutely.
We've got also a couple of other, all these music educators in the house who might want to contribute what they do as well.
Yes.
And maybe you can take
Thank
yourself
you. I have a copy of the donut sachet,
Yes.
that I have started, and it's really cool. I also try, because I came from the Philippines, so I've been introducing Filipino folk dance.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so because it's again, you talk about the forms, and so and then the basic, and then kids learn, like when we introduce the time signature, for example, and then the common pattern, and also the basic steps, and then they are able to create their own configuration based from the fundamentals on that. So the sachet kind of lay the foundation for them to apply the same principles and pattern, when they learn another folk dance, for example, like Mexican folk dance.
And what a great opportunity too, just for the culture of your building to be able to have world dancing. I remember when I was a kid, I learned folk dances from Spanish-speaking countries, And I remember that to this day. So that's a wonderful thing to do with students, and a great opportunity to involve international music into the classroom too.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And I like your disco ball. I was able to buy 2 bulbs from Menards. And the
Perfect.
kids really warm it up, too. So I'm curious, like you have a big, those soft, was it a banner or the one that they were using?
Oh, the scarves.
The scarves,
Yes.
but those are big one?
There are big ones from Bear Paw Creek. I think, Liz, does West Music sell those?
We absolutely do. All you have to do is search Bear Paw Creek on our website and you can find the gigantic ones.
There you go. There you go.
I have the small one.
Yeah.
You can also find the small ones.
Right, but they're really good. I ordered last year, but because I'm on a tight budget, I only have like 1 sets of those. So it's really fun so then I supplemented with the streamers, those acrylic papers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it was beautiful. Thank you for sharing all your classroom. I love that, the space in the gym.
Yes. And
the
actually,
view.
I wanted to mention too, for those of you, I'm noticing in the chat several people who are teaching on a cart. And I wanted to encourage you to, if you have an opportunity to team up with your gym teacher. There was a year where my schedule allowed me and the gym teacher to spend some time together and see the students a second time. And so we did, for that year, we did a program called Movement and Music. We called it M&M. And the kids would come 2 classes at a time. And we both had a class, but we combined our classes and we taught folk dance in the gym with that time.
Good idea.
Hi, Will. Hey, Will, I have a question.
Sure, Mary. Yeah.
Okay, I know that ORF conferences do dance stuff, but I don't want to go to a whole big, huge conference like that. Do you know by chance, and the other 2 ladies might as well, do you know where there's just folk dance conferences or retreats or festivals that you can go to get more ideas of stuff like this to do with kids? Because my school has a great deal of diversity in it, and I am doing something different this year with my kids, with all the different heritage months, as well as a wide variety. It's a long story to get into, but I would also like to experience some other folk dance and cultures myself. So do you know of any places?
Well, I know that they're out there. So I'm from Indiana, and we do have a folk dance. We do have a folk dance kind of festival where elementary groups come together and perform folk dances. But I will also say that the New England Dancing Masters, I know that they are involved in those kinds of events. Now, I have not yet been to one, but I would like to go one. But if you reached out to them, if you found their contact information on their website, I do think that they'd be able to point you in the right direction. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful as far as giving specific ones. This is honestly, I'm still learning so much about this myself, and so it's all I've been learning as I've gone. So I have not been to one. But I do know that they're out there. So. Okay,
well, I'm in Michigan, so I'm not far from you, but in Indiana. But I just am looking for something, and I've been to the ORF stuff. I know what that's about, but I want to do more folk dance stuff. So
yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
There you go.
Clearly the right answer is that we need to have Will host some things so that we can just have a folk dance get together, right, Will?
Well, we would have done one as tonight's session. I just didn't know how to make it work virtually. We'd all take our laptops and sashay down, I guess.
I'm sure before the next time we have you back, you can figure that out. So stay tuned, everyone, for interactive Will Doublestein. Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to say thanks again for the extra time here tonight. You have Will's contact information, and if for some reason you missed it, you can always get it from us. We'll be happy to send it to you so you can reach out to him directly with your questions. Thanks again for joining us tonight. And I see lots of you who join us on a regular basis, and we appreciate that you trust Music Constructed with your professional development and hope to see you again soon. And thank you to Will for a phenomenal session.
Guys, thank you so much. It's been an honor. Good luck.